The Movie Bar Podcast.
Now it's time for the feature presentation. Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome back to the feature presentation presented by the Movie Bar, the Movie Podcast, exploring timeless classics that have stood the test of time and those that haven't. I am your host, John, and I am joined by my best friend.
I'm Justin, and this week, boy howdy, we are discussing Blank Check, which is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. And let me tell you, it did not age well.
How you doing this week?
Well, I made it through a week. I'm not sick anymore, I don't think.
I'm still coughing, so that's fun.
Yeah,
but
that was stuff. But
and I'm starting to get it. I think I have a broken tooth and it's infected, so
probably.
I'll probably lose my jaw, and that'll be the end of the podcast. Yay! But a little bit of housekeeping. First off, sad news. Predator and Rocky legend Carl Weathers had passed away at the age of 76. He died in his home. Apparently, his next appearance was supposed to be here in Boston, but he had to bow out. And he had posted a video message online shortly before his death. So, but
sad days. He was in The Mandalorian too, so he was still very much out there in the public space.
What was your favorite Carl Weathers character?
Chubbs.
I don't know. It's a tie between Chubbs and Apollo Creed. But, you know, a lot of memes online of that scene in Happy Gilmore where he's waving the Chubbs. But condolences to his friends, family, and fans. Okay, so we're going to do a little something different right now.
We're going to do a little swerve, bro.
Swerve,
bro.
Yeah. So we talk about movies, entertainment, then there's sports entertainment. So plagued by controversy lately, the WWE pulled a big swerve out on Friday night where the winner of the Royal Rumble gets to choose who he faces at the big pay-per-view WrestleMania. And this year's
I'll be goddamn if they didn't shock the world with Bayley going up against Io Sky. I mean, yeah, why did
they? But this year's men's Royal Rumble winner was Cody Rhodes, and there was all this talk he's gonna quote unquote finish his story, win the title that his dad Dusty never won, and dethrone Roman Reigns, who's been champion for over 1,200 days or something. But then this past Friday night, Cody went to make his announcement and was overshadowed by a returning Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Well, no, he came out and they kind of teased he's going to make his decision, and then he decided to not take it, so immediate thoughts on it was, I mean, that's just stupid. I mean, I'm not a big Cody fan. I haven't really watched much of wrestling over the past many years, but with, CM Punk and all that stuff going on, I kind of paid attention. And this just seemed like a douchey swerve, the way they played it off.
So, a little backstory. First of all, The Rock and Roman, they're cousins. And The Rock came back about 2-3 weeks ago, did a segment with wrestler Jinder Mahal, and was saying that, he's going to go celebrate, whether it be at the bar, at a table, or at our booth, or at the head of the table, which is Roman Reigns is saying. But now, so far this year, WrestleMania has sparked controversy because of Vince McMahon and his allegations. The World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins is apparently injured with a knee injury. CM Punk, who just returned in November,
and was supposed to face Seth Rollins.
Was supposed to face Seth Rollins. Tore his tricep in the Royal Rumble. So it's like, okay, we're 60 some odd days away from WrestleMania. Plans have changed. I don't think there's ever been a WrestleMania where, except for when the pandemic happened and they had to move it, I think that was the extent of, like, we're screwed. But boy, is the WWE Universe upset about this. Wrestlers, fans, everybody has been using the hashtag We Want Cody. Cody finished the story. Now there's been several scenarios that have come out through the dirt sheets about what could possibly happen. You want to run down some?
I mean, there is some that, obviously, like, this is just The Rock being a dink, which, according to most, this match was part of his contract coming in. And, I get that. That's what he wanted. They were going to do it last year, but they didn't. Negotiations or whatever fell out and all that, timing and all that good stuff. But there's also the whole, it could just be that, it's going to play out as they've set out. Or it could be that The Rock is here to take Roman off the head of the table, take Solo away, whichever Uso's still with him, and all that, and leave him alone, and leave him with nobody to protect him so Cody can take the title from him, which could be the second night of WrestleMania or whatnot.
Yeah.
There's the really, really out there theories in that they're going to get through all this and they're going to get to WrestleMania and The Rock and Roman are going to be there, and then they're going to be like, oh no, there's a new challenger, and here comes MJF. That's funny. I was just joking. But I mean, there's all kinds of theories and all that stuff. But I mean, if it goes down just straight up, The Rock is now facing Roman at WrestleMania, and Cody either faces Rollins or just gets another shot farther down the line. I think that this is a bullshit move.
Yeah, I mean it. So The Rock is on the board of directors of TKO, which is the company that owns WWE now.
Mm-hmm.
And part of him coming in was, I believe, stock options. He now owns the name The Rock, which was owned by WWE for many, many, many years. And this match with Roman. And now it's kind of funny how when Rock came out 2-3 weeks ago and he said head of the table, the place went crazy.
Yeah.
But now that they're taking it from Cody, everybody's like, Triple H needs to resign, as the chief content officer. Like, what's he doing? He's fucking up. Like, there's obviously a big plan with this.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. The Rock keeps bringing up the long game, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And that's all well and good. But at the same time, you've got a lot of people online bringing up old, like, CM Punk promos, old Cena promos from when they were going against The Rock, and them talking about how he's, selfish backstabber and all that stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Which Rock we're actually going to get for.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest reasons this is happening is because of losing CM Punk, losing Brock Lesnar because of this sexual assault, sexual thing that Vince is involved in, and then possibly losing Seth Rollins.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, it could be their way of. I mean, obviously, some of it, some of the rumors are it's their way of taking the heat off of him and shifting the focus off of Vince McMahon and all that stuff. Which,
Yeah,
I mean, you're not really going to be able to do. It's that thing is just too big. It's moving forward
and getting bigger
and
every week, every
it's
day.
getting bigger every day. So, I mean, could it be a little bit of that? I mean, it probably still is. They probably still saw the opportunity and said, all right, well, we need something to get out of this. And I mean, if it comes out with Cody winning the belt, even though I'm not a big Cody fan, I
Yeah.
just want to see Roman lose the belt. I'm sick
Yeah.
and tired of seeing him, and I don't watch. But if it comes out that he wins it, it'll be for the better. But if it plays out the way it's set up now, that's kind of too big of a Hulk Hoganish moment.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's been compared to when Stone Cold returned. I think it was last year or the year before. He came in to help boost WrestleMania.
mm-hmm.
He put over Kevin Owens, even though he whooped his ass, but he didn't like steal the spotlight from him or anything.
Yeah. No, he came in. He did what a veteran does. He came in and
Yeah.
he put the upcoming guy over.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that I had a point. I lost it. God damn it. I mean, it's one of those things that with this whole long game play, it's who knows? It could go anywhere.
Yeah, and that's one thing like Triple H has been focused on is long playing, So when he took over in 2022, so he's come August will be like the 2-year mark of Triple H kind of running creative.
Yeah.
Even though Vince still had his fingers in it. But a lot of things, and you've seen a lot of long game, you have Gunther as the Intercontinental Champion, 600 plus days.
Mm-hmm.
Roman Reigns going on 1,200 days. Like you don't see that. You didn't see that for years. It was like every other month it was switching hands and all that. So, but it'll be interesting how the next few weeks play out. I know they have a press conference Thursday in Vegas where we'll get a little more information when Roman and The Rock come face to face. So maybe we'll follow up next week if we can catch the press conference between then Thursday and when we record. And we'll kind of monitor the situation and discuss as we see necessary.
I mean, as it is, I had to ask you if there was anything going on tonight because you're 3 hours ahead. And
yeah, not really. They made it like
I get Reddit clips.
Seth called out Cody Rhodes, and they kind of discussed like, yeah, they're gonna do it, but like the problem with that is we've seen that match. Cody's been back for not even a year and a half, and we've seen that match 3 times already.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now they're showing clips of CM Punk surgery. Apparently, it was a success. But so yeah, we'll keep an eye on this situation. But must be nice to be Dwayne making all this money and on the board of all these companies, the XFL and the AFL or whatever the hell it is now, and now TKO. And does he have any movies coming out?
No, I don't think so.
So
Black Adam kind of stopped that a little bit.
Yeah, he tried to take over the DCU.
Well, that movie sucked. So
DCU, yeah. So maybe you should stick to wrestling. But all right, some new and exciting trailers dropped.
I don't know about exciting.
Come on, man. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. Now it has Owl and Tigger in it, I think. I think I saw Tigger.
Yeah, it looks like they changed it.
Yeah.
And, I mean,
The first one sucked.
it did. So, I mean, I'm glad they changed it, but at the same time, it's like now they have more money. So that's kind of going to be the difference. But
yeah, well,
we'll
I don't
see.
know. It looks like the same shit as the first one.
They all do.
What else we got?
Well, we have Kung Fu Panda 4.
Jack Black is back. That's good at
always Jack
least.
Black. That's good, yeah. It's good when they have the
Um,
returning people.
I'm not a fan of the Kung Fu Panda movies.
I'm kind of hit or miss with them sometimes. If I'm in the right mood, they'll be okay. The kids don't really care too much for them either.
Yeah.
So, but then we also have Megamind, a Megamind sequel. I forget what the actual title of Megamind
Versus the Secret of Doom or something.
Yeah, Doom something. I don't know. It looks like it sucks. Mostly because one, it's going to Peacock. Two, there's no Will Ferrell. It's some guy trying to sound like Will Ferrell and doing a terrible job at it.
Yeah.
And so, but there's going to be a show along with it, but I don't foresee me caring to watch that.
No, and I believe it comes to Peacock March 1st or 3rd.
Something like that. Yeah.
It kind of gave me vibes of Despicable Me 2. Like Gru was a good guy then the bad guys trying to get Gru to come back, and so I don't know.
We shall see.
I mean, it didn't do good the first go around with the first Megamind, but then it became like a cult classic, and
I thought it was pretty good when it came out, but
I don't know. It's not one I go to. I'd rather go to Shrek or Despicable Me or the Minions.
Yeah.
But all right, what you watched this week? Anything?
Well, I did watch Blank Check, so I watched that. And then I watched Thanksgiving.
Oh, let's discuss.
I figured you'd want to.
What? You didn't
I
like
enjoyed it. So I think that it was a wonderful representation of Massachusetts folk.
Oh yeah.
I
All
mean,
the mass old jokes in there, like
asshole
Papagenos.
jokes, the yelling and the way they were right at the beginning when they're all waiting outside the store. I worked at a Toys R Us in Massachusetts on Black Friday. I've seen that shit. That is how people are. And mine was in Brockton. So
a lot of guns.
I had a pimp at 2 a.m. No lie. He had the purple suit with the feather in his cap and everything. And it was not Halloween. It's Christmas. The only time it was open 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I thought it was good. There's a lot of good kills.
What was your favorite kill?
I don't know. I kind of like the lady getting chopped in half with a dumpster.
I think mine was the cooking alive.
That is just rough. Like that you got to have a particular fucking hate for someone to put them in an oven.
Well, he did. So,
I mean, damn.
Spoiler alert. Did you like the twist at the end?
Which twist? Who it was?
Yeah.
I mean, I did. It was well hidden, but also there were hints kind of throughout when you look back at it.
Yeah.
And I think that you know, hopefully that if he does do a sequel to this,
which he is coming out in 2025.
I would hope he doesn't use Thanksgiving. I want that motherfucker to come back at like Easter or something.
He's the fucking Easter Bunny at the mall.
Fuck up a different holiday.
I think it's going to be Thanksgiving too. And
just to change it up. I think that would be better. And I think it'd be if he didn't fucking tell anybody that was the fucking movie.
Yeah.
He just fucking releases it called something different. I think that'd be great. But I just think it'd be funnier to have him, come back at Easter.
Yeah.
Resurrection.
He's the bunny at the mall and fucking.
Doesn't even have to be anything like that. He can still be John Carver. But, God is risen. All that crap. I think it'd be funny.
Yeah. Well, maybe one day we'll do a full episode on it as a bonus or something. But all right, what else did you watch?
I watched a little bit of Crank because that was on. So that was pretty good.
Okay.
Trying to think if I watched anything else. I didn't have a lot of time this week, so it was mostly TV shows.
Well, I wish I could say the same.
I don't. I'd rather have time.
Yeah. I had plenty of time to watch a lot of movies. When was the last time we recorded?
Last Monday.
So the 29th. All right. So I'll start from Tuesday. I watched Thanksgiving again because it came out on Blu-ray. So I was like, I've been dying to watch that movie again. And it took a lot of willpower not to buy the digital version, knowing that I would get it with the Blu-ray that I had already pre-ordered. Then I watched The Hills Run Red. Remember that one with Babyface? I think we've watched that together.
Babyface?
Yeah, he had the doll's face on his sewed onto his face. And it turns out that the daughter is actually his mother and his father is her father. Fuck it. Okay, maybe not. I know we've watched it once or twice.
What kind of redneck shit is that?
Then I watched Vacancy 2, the first cut. It wasn't bad. House of Wax. I love watching that just to see Paris Hilton get fucking killed. Then I watched a movie I haven't seen in a long time. The Hills Have Eyes, the remake version.
Yeah.
That's fucking twisted, man.
Yep.
That scene when the hillbillies fucking the teenage girl and the other one's holding the gun to the baby's head while sucking on the baby's mother's tit and fucking... That took 2 days to watch. Then I watched Quarantine, Empire Records. And then this past Saturday, me and Hunter had kind of a movie day. We watched Ready to Rumble, the WCW movie. We watched Blank Check. Indian in the Cupboard, Ready Player One. And then I watched Basketball, Hollow's Eve, Major Payne, Step Brothers, Cocaine Bear, Poison Ivy, The Secret Society, and The Rage Carry 2. So yeah. It's funny watching Cocaine Bear again.
It's always funny watching Cocaine Bear.
That I was watching it while at work and I was just laughing and people were like, what the fuck are you doing? Mind your business. I'm watching Cocaine Bear. But all right. So now it's time for the feature presentation this week.
From Walt Disney Pictures, this morning, Preston Waters got something.
What's on my bike?
Let's check your dad. We'll know what to do with it. That's going to change his life.
Blank check. Yeah!
Now he's buying more stuff.
You have a house.
meeting more women,
Baby brother comes into his own.
and stopping 3 crooks
I'm gonna get you, kid.
from taking all of his money.
That must hurt.
Disney's Blank Check. Now playing at a theater near you. Check newspaper for showtimes.
We discuss it. Blank Check, which was directed by Rupert Wainwright, had a box office of $39 million. Was released on February 11th, 1994. Rated PG and has a runtime of 1 hour and 35 minutes. And it is currently streaming on Disney Plus, as well as for purchase on streaming sites.
Our cast characters. We have Brian Bonsall as Preston Waters, also known as Mr. McIntosh. Karen Duffy as Shay Stanley. Miguel Ferrer as Carl Quigley. Michael Lerner as Edward Biederman. Tone Loke as Juice. James Rebhorn as Fred Waters. Jane Atkinson as Sandra Waters. Rick DeCommon as Henry. Debbie Allen as Yvonne. Chris Demetrel as Damian Waters. Michael Faustino as Ralph Waters. And Alex Zuckerman as Butch.
Michael Faustino, is he related to David
I
Faustino?
was just wondering that myself, probably. 93, 94, sure. Like a younger brother or something.
Let me look it up real quick. Yep. They're brothers.
See? There you
So yeah, this movie aged horribly.
go. Yeah, not very well. No. You got some mild pedophilia going on.
See, now when you first said that to me when we discussed about talking about this movie, I was like, oh, it was a kiss on the cheek. Like, how bad could it have been? No,
Yeah,
that
it was on the
was
lips.
that was fucking full on, like, kiss on the lips.
And she was like, call me in 10 years.
Yeah. So then he's only, well, no, he'd be 21 then. But
He
I
talked her
figured-
down to 6.
I figured out she was like 31 at the time of filming this. So I'm surprised being a Disney movie with Disney branding all over it that this was allowed. So
It's pretty rough.
So let's discuss how we get the ball rolling in this movie. We meet young Preston.
It's a goddamn stretch, to say the least.
And
there are movies where there's a little bit of, I can, stretch my, the limits of my belief, but this one's a little bit too much.
yeah. So, we meet Preston Waters, and his room is being taken over by his brothers in their business, hand and foot.
Typical youngest.
Yep. Which
Short
you
end of the
were.
stick. Yeah. Always
Did
getting
you
the short
catch-
end of the stick.
Yeah. And he goes to a birthday party at Six Flags San Antonio, which was the park that was used for the making of the movie.
Sure.
And his father gives him $6, which,
That's just douchey. Even I know that. That's just like, come on.
yeah. So Preston begins to ask if they're broke or, if they're poor. and whatever, but they're like, no, we're just, So now all he wants is his own money and his own house. It's right before his 12th birthday, and he gets a check from his grandmother that's blank.
Oh, he said it.
Yep.
They said it a lot in this movie.
Yeah. Did you ever get a blank check as a kid and be like, what
No.
the fuck? No. Yeah. I don't think.
None of my relatives were old and senile at the time I was that young.
Yeah. So the father puts $10 with inflation.
He adds $1 for inflation.
So Preston goes to open a bank account, meets Shay Stanley, his love interest. So disturbing.
Well, I mean, if you weren't an 11-year-old and you were an 18-year-old, you'd probably have done the same thing.
I would have been at that bank every fucking day. All right. Like she was a beautiful woman, and she had the cutest little dimples, and yeah. Anyways, now she's gonna be what, 50 something? If she was 31 then, in 20 years,
30 years.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. 60 something. Holy shit. So
wise, man.
Yeah. And while leaving the bank, now we've seen the backstory with Quigley, how he escapes from prison, and
yeah, this dude stole $1 million, went to prison for it,
hid it in a warehouse,
managed to hide it, and then break out of prison, and none of that is mentioned for the rest of the movie, other than the money.
Yeah.
None of it. He is freely out walking around among the people, searching for a child at parks and amusement parks.
And the FBI knows this because she even says that Quigley was in the bank at one point, and they just let him roll.
And this movie has all kinds of problems. All kinds of fun problems. Like, it's so bad.
Yeah. So his main purpose at the bank is to switch out the bills, like money laundering.
He's a money launderer. That's what the president is.
Well, he runs into trouble after Butch steals Preston's $11 check, because apparently it takes $200 to open a bank account at this bank.
Yeah,
and
that's how most of them are.
It results in
Him
Preston
crashing his bike.
And then almost being run over by Quigley.
Yes.
Who has quite the temper on him.
Well, he just escaped prison.
So
he don't need that kind of attention.
Well,
so he makes it worse by yelling at the kid in the middle of the parking lot.
And so people come over, make sure Preston's all right. And Quigley sees the cop, so he's like, writes a blank check. Yeah, get this to your dad. He'll know what to do. And then Preston gets in trouble because some guy fucking hit him. What the fuck?
Yeah. He's not a very good dad. But that's, that's just a plot device.
But Preston never mentions the blank check, and he uses his Macintosh Performa 600 computer.
Not his brother's.
His brother's, yes, I'm sorry. His brother's Apple Macintosh Performa 600 to then outsmart adults. First off, filling out a blank check.
Out the check with a type print.
No fucking guideline whatsoever. I couldn't do that if my life depended on it right now.
No, absolutely not. No, never. I can't even tell you which way to lay the fucking paper down in a goddamn copier the first time.
You couldn't even get your fucking camera working earlier.
Well,
I was having trouble with my mouse earlier.
I think that's my computer. It's an old computer.
And this is at a time when computers are just starting to.
Yeah, the internet wasn't a thing then.
Yes. But this kid figured out how to fucking use a program to talk, how to write a check. So he writes the check and goes back to the bank.
That is the one part of this movie that is true. And that is that the kids know how to use the technology better than any of the adults.
And his brothers didn't even know how to use it.
No, because they're dumb teenagers.
Yes. So
teenage boys are dumb.
Yes. And so now he goes to the bank with the ugliest looking fucking bank teller. And even Hunter commented, wow, she looks mean.
Well, they can't all be winners, and they're not all just eye candy for you, John. They're not all.
But it definitely plays into, like, he's nervous. He doesn't think he's going to get away with it.
He would have had less chance had she been there.
Yeah. She was there. She was helping somebody else, though.
Mm.
And then, like, the cop in line behind him, cashing a big one today, and he's all nervous, like, huh? He's like, oh, big deposit today? So he goes up to Biederman's office. Now, all Biederman knows is Juice is showing up at 1 p.m. So he asks Preston if he wants some juice, and he says, no, I'm not thirsty. And he's like, oh, okay, that's enough to...
I mean, who's going to suspect a child is carrying around $1 million in a backpack?
Oh, exactly.
It is a genius way if it was the actual plan. I mean, It's a little sick and twisted, but, you know. If nobody knows the money's there and, you know, you just send a kid in, nobody's going to suspect it's the kid that went in to get it. Come on.
Yeah, it would have worked if that was the original plan, but apparently it wasn't.
No, and why would it be? It's a stupid fucking plan.
Yeah. So Preston now has $1 million cash.
Yeah.
In his backpack. In small bills.
Audi 5000. And runs into Juice. On the way out.
Played by the lovely Tone Loc. Funky Cole Medina, you know. And well, on his way home, he grabs the sign for this random castle-like house in his neighborhood, 2 doors down from him, which just so happens Quigley is in making a bid of $150,000.
Yeah, which houses with that fucking goddamn much?
Yeah, no shit.
I could buy a castle for $150,000. That house would be probably $2 million nowadays.
Yeah. So,
although wait a minute, they're in Texas. Oh, they're in Texas. It's probably less then.
Yeah,
because nobody fucking wants to live in Texas.
I don't think they say they live in Texas at any point. I just know that was where the Six Flags was. So he then used a computer robot to bid on this house. No credit check.
And his mom's voice in the background making some of the bids.
Yeah.
And nobody goes, oh, that's not a computer voice. That's some random fucking lady in the background now. I mean.
And how the fuck does an 11-year-old know about closing costs?
What did his father do?
I don't think they ever say what his father does.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. That could be why. But who knows?
But no, there's no fucking way. So it ends up being about $300,000 that he gets for this house. So then he hires a limo to take him out for the night. Once again, the adult is fucking suspicious about this, that this kid is spending all this money like fucking crazy, just based off of the story that, well, he wants me to enjoy my childhood.
You meet all kinds of people.
But that's where we do meet Henry, the limo driver, who is like a big kid at heart.
Mm-hmm.
Especially riding around with Preston.
He goes from investigating neighborhoods with Tom Hanks to driving around a kid with a blank check.
Yeah, and they go on a shopping spree and they buy all the shit for the house. Then the next day, Preston's working for Mr. McIntosh.
Directing all this shit showing up.
Yeah. And so let's run down what he spent now. He spent $23,200 on a security system.
That's an awful lot.
$35,600 on a video system. $26,260 on a racetrack. $12,500 for a batting cage, which seems a little fucking pricey.
Yeah, well, that ball shooter thing, I think that was the money there.
A inflatable boxing ring, Velcro wall, and wrestling ring, $1,250. He spent $4,936.56 on Coke, Haagen-Dazs, Charles chips, and Nabisco cookies.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. $750 on a slush puppy machine.
That's all that costs?
Yep.
Damn. Should have one at home.
No shit. Plan 442, which is the plan that his father's working on, $300,000. A round trip to Chicago, $374.
What was a round trip to Chicago for?
I think that was when he took the limo into the city.
Oh.
So I think it's safe to say they live in Illinois.
Oh, okay.
Max Kid Park, which I have no idea what that is, $40,000. $40,000. The slide from inside the house to the pool, $12,050. Horizon virtual reality, $30,000. Now his dinner date with Shay, between dinner, the necklace, and flowers, it was $925.
Yeah, I've never spent that much on a date.
Fuck no. I haven't even spent a ninth of that on a date. Miscellaneous, $6,225.52. The party was $10,000 up front.
Plus $100,000 on the back end.
Yeah. And the house, $300,000, even though I have $700,000 plus closing costs. So by the night of the party, he has $340 something left over out of $1 million. In 6 fucking days.
Did you know what the hard part about that to believe is? Not that he spent it, but that all that stuff actually got installed in 6 days. That's the hard part to believe.
Well, I think when they see a customer with high roller, they're gonna.
You call a security system company, they're gonna take their fucking time because they need to get all their fucking equipment.
Yeah.
If you call Best Buy, I mean, nowadays you got next day and all that shit, but back then you didn't.
And nowadays you just fucking use Amazon.
Yeah. Because I mean, a lot of that stuff you'd have to like the kid would have to figure out where to go to figure out how to buy a racetrack.
Well,
like, how would he know who to go to fucking put that in a backyard?
I'm sure it was one of the stores they went to, or somebody Henry knew.
The fucking chances. You know, I'm just saying. There's a lot of that
Yeah.
movie magic.
Yeah. And when you're a kid, you're like, holy shit, that's what $1 million could buy me? So.
Well, I mean, and that's the other thing is like, now, even especially nowadays, but you'd go through $1 million real fucking quick.
So with inflation, $1 million in 1993 when this movie was filmed would be about $2,081,937.72 today.
Yeah.
So if your kids are planning on getting run over by somebody at a bank, make sure they ask for $2,081,937.72. And that would be the equivalent of our dream in 1994 with $1 million.
It's funny how often I say, "Oh, just move $1 million, you'll be set." Nah, you're not actually set.
No, not nowadays with inflation.
Nope.
So, but
I mean, there's just so much of this that was just so wrong.
And something I learned that I didn't know, Karen Duffy also played a character named Shay in Dumb and Dumber that also came out in 1994. And both films involved a briefcase full of money as a plot element. And unlike the film, Karen Duffy was one of the antagonists in Dumb and Dumber. I never realized that was her.
Yep.
So.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also one of Michael Jackson's favorite movies when it came out.
Yeah.
We're going to leave it at that.
Surprise me.
We're going to leave it at that. He ended up working with the director, Rupert Wainwright, on a documentary I can't remember the name of. But, so yeah. What was your favorite scene in the movie?
I kind of like when they dangle the kid across off the roof to get him to tell him to arrest him.
Yeah. Oh, when they dangled Butch off. So let's talk about these three grown adults going to the parks and all this. And they finally find him. They're chasing him. And nobody bats a fucking eye.
Yeah, that happens a lot in movies. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Yeah. But, like,
Nobody
seriously.
ever bats an eye. Nope.
Like, it fucking boggles the mind. Like,
it's one of those things. It's like, you've got thousands of scenes in movies where bad guys are chasing kids through public areas and nobody's doing anything, nobody's saying anything. But like, if I'm at the park and I'm chasing my kid around the park, I feel like people are looking at me going, what the fuck is he doing to that kid?
yeah.
You know, or should he be chasing that child? Should I be calling 911? That's that's the world.
Yeah. And, they almost get him, but he gets away.
Kid's slippery.
He is. Still carrying the fucking money in the backpack around his fucking shoulder.
You gotta do what you gotta do, man. I mean, at that point, it was only, a couple $100, but...
You have this big fucking house with a security system. So...
How well did that do him in the end?
Well, I mean, it was a public party and people showed up. So let's talk about that. So
and all they had to do was knock on the door.
Yeah.
Come and knock on the door. Come and knock on the door.
So let's talk about that. So this is when it gets in.
Terrible party.
Yeah. Well, it was Mr. McIntosh's party, not his party.
It's still a shit show of a party.
And so the bad guys, Quigley, Biederman, and Juice, finally find him. And then he goes on a Home Alone-like adventure taking out these bad
Running through
guys,
the house,
throwing
shoot
Quigley in the ball and running it into the pool. Biederman with the virtual reality.
Juice with the pitching machine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even though the FBI was outside the entire party,
The whole time.
the whole fucking time they're outside. And it takes them 20 minutes to go inside.
Disney. I mean, what do you want? Well, I mean, they weren't firing guns. So, I mean, like, it's how
You
would
have
they
the
know?
house under fucking surveillance.
I don't know where they had cameras.
Well,
She was in the fucking house at one point,
yeah.
you know.
So,
And then in the end, she knows who he is, but still asks who's Macintosh, and we just take it with that.
and Quigley's like, I'm Macintosh. Oh, okay. So now Macintosh, who's been alive for 6 days, created by this child, is being investigated for money fraud, money laundering.
Because he paid cash for that house. The FBI doesn't like shit like that. They don't like you having money. Government don't like that shit.
Well,
They decide who gets money.
and then the other two get arrested just for being next to him.
Well,
Go figure.
No. The banker was fucking laundering money.
Yeah.
Mr. Macintosh escaped from prison from doing, stealing the money. And Juice was the innocent one.
Mhm.
He was just making music and got caught up in it.
So, all right. How about the length of the movie? Hour 35.
Standard.
Yeah. I think it covered all the bases it needed to cover.
Unfortunately, also went on to cover first, almost second base. I'm pretty sure he was trying to get his hand in there.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. The end of the movie. The end of the movie. Preston, who's 12, and Shay Stanley kiss.
Mm-hmm.
So now every kid watching this in 93 thinks it's okay to flirt with older women and take them out on $900 dates.
And nowadays, that alone will get you thrown in prison. As it should. If it's not your own.
And she's a fucking FBI agent.
Yeah. So
Like,
I should be
anybody would
knocking
know
on her
better.
door.
Yeah.
Got a pedophile in the ranks.
Who's policing the police?
Who's watching the Watchmen?
So, do you think this had a sequel potential?
No.
No.
You can't. Where could you go from there?
Preston's 16. Shay's pregnant with his kids.
Yeah.
She's being investigated by the FBI for child endangerment. Sensitive subject, but
Not good.
so what about reboot potential, and could this be made today?
I mean, you could. Obviously, they would change a few things. But, I mean, it's still, just a kind of a kid skirts the laws, and it's a little rough. I don't think parents would appreciate it anymore, but you could. You just got to pull the pedophilia out of it.
Yeah.
clean it up a little bit.
This is one of those movies where they would have to base it in the 90s if they did a reboot. Because,
No, because I think nowadays it'd actually be easier for them to write a story where the kid could actually outsmart the adults and buy the house. I think it'd be easier now.
Yeah, it'd be making
because of the technology.
His bids online.
Yeah.
And technology has come a far way since the...
And if, the last 8 or 9 years have taught us anything, it's that there are, there's a fair number of people who are gullible in this country. So,
yeah, instead of stealing it from a bad guy, he's calling old ladies and like, hey, grandma, I need money. Oh, who's this?
Nowadays, it'd be more thing. It'd be more doable.
Yeah. All right. Your overall opinion of the movie in general.
Are you looking for my mug rating?
Nope, not yet.
I mean, it's nostalgic because I watched it a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
But it's those 30 years that have passed in between that have kind of, it leaves a sour taste now. It's not the same.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, it's like, ooh, this looks like fun. Now it's like, oh God, she should be in prison. And so should he. And why isn't that guy in jail?
Yeah. Did you watch it with the boys?
They've watched it before. They watched it a while ago.
So
I told them not to emulate this kid.
I told Hunter, I said, hey, if you can get $1 million, good luck to you. But, we watched it together. And he enjoyed it. And it was funny, like him picking up on certain things, and he was like the bank teller, but he was more invested in the Indian in the cupboard than he was blank check. Surprised me because I thought he would have been all over this. So
kids are surprising like that.
All right. Why don't you run through some ratings?
We have IMDb at 5.3 out of 10. 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, see, that's the modern audience for you. 2 out of 5 Common Sense Media. Letterboxes, I don't know, out of 5. And I'm gonna go
2.4 out of Letterbox.
I'm gonna go with the old 2 for
2?
my rating. Yeah. And that's all nostalgia. If it wasn't for the nostalgia, it'd probably get a 1 or a 0.5.
I gave it a 4.5 because I do enjoy this movie. After a 25-minute argument with Hunter, he gave it a 5 because I said, what do you give it 1 out of 5? And he goes, a 10. And I said, 1 out of 5. Okay, a 6. Okay, now you're fucking with me. 1 out of 5. I am going to try to record something with him Wednesday to get it. I meant to do it over the weekend, but a lot going on where he gives his thoughts on the movie and try to insert. If I don't, then oh well. Maybe we can follow that up in housekeeping next week. But speaking of next week.
Next week, we will be covering the 35th anniversary of the most excellent adventure of all time. It's the adventure of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, starring Alex Winter and the one, the only George Carlin and Keanu Reeves.
Yes. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. I've seen the second one more recently, but
have you seen the third one?
No.
Where they face the music?
No.
No? Okay.
I don't know that I want to.
I think they're just older. I'll probably end up watching it after watching Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, but
yeah,
we'll see.
Sure.
Well, that's a wrap, folks. Thanks for joining us today. Before we go, sorry.
Oh, what the fuck? You just run over my shit. See that? I'm just not here anymore. What the Fuck.
You're not Kyle. You're still there.
Before we go, find us on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and most places you listen to your podcasts. Kid.
And don't forget to follow us on social media and stay up to date on future episodes and join the conversation. Let us know what you do with $1 million. You can find us on Twitter /X at the Movie Bar Pod, and on Instagram at Movie Bar Podcast, and on YouTube and TikTok at the Movie Bar Pod, and at the Movie Bar Podcast on Facebook. Tag us, share your favorite movie moments, and suggest films you'd love for us to cover next.
Have a film suggestion? I just want to say, hola, me amo Justin. Drop us an email at themoviebar@outlook.com.
Until next time, keep that popcorn popping and the reels rolling. And we'll catch you next week on the feature presentation presented by the Movie Bar.
Bye.